today I want to unpack one of Jesus's super wise teachings. He said this: if you're on your way to the altar to take your offering, and on the way you remember that your brother has something against you, go first and make peace with your brother, and then take your offering to the altar. This is so packed with wisdom. And the first thing I want to say is it's this idea of like having a reflective journey as we're going to meet with God in our acts of worship. It may be that we're taking an offering. It may be that we're going to just a prayer meeting or a worship meeting, or it could be giving in some way. But it's like when we're doing something where we're devoting time and energy to God, where we're coming in forward in some kind of act of worship. We've got this idea of having a reflective journey, spending time on our way there, thinking about our relationships. Now, it may well be that there are things that we are not aware of, or maybe we don't remember. That's okay. Jesus' teaching here just says, if you do remember, then go first and make peace. So don't worry. I think sometimes we can be over analytical or over reflective and kind of overthink things and panic about maybe people having problems that we're just not even aware of, people having issues with us and we don't even know about it. That's outside of Jesus' teachings. I think if Jesus was to kind of clarify, he'd probably say, don't worry about those things that are just totally outside of your awareness. It's just those things that you do remember. Now, a really interesting feature of this teaching, which I think is quite countercultural, is Jesus is putting responsibility on his listeners, his disciples, the people who are following him and taking this teaching seriously. That's where the responsibility lies. So, culturally speaking, I find that there's this kind of unspoken assumption, this unspoken expectation that if you have a problem with someone, you're the one that should approach them and sort it out. And people will often be aware of other people that have issues with them, but not go and address it. So it's like, well, that's their problem. It's their responsibility. They should come and talk to me. If they got a problem, that's their responsibility to come and talk to me. How much of the time do we hear people talking like this? How often do we think like this ourselves? Even when we're aware that other people have issues with us, we expect them to be the ones to be proactive, them to be the ones to take the initiative. But I think Jesus' teaching here is saying, whoever you are following me, listening to me, heeding my teachings, walking with me as a disciple, it's your responsibility. I call you to be a peacemaker. I call you to take the initiative. I call you to be proactive. But what's interesting here is there's no judgment of who's in the right or wrong. It's not decided as to whether they have a valid reason to hold something against you. There's no judgment of right or wrong. To be the one that's proactive and goes to make peace, it's not the same as admitting that you're wrong, but it's also not the same as saying you're right. It's just it's a call to go and be open-minded and to listen and to ask questions and to be willing and ready to learn. So I find this really cool, that this idea that it subverts our normal cultural expectations. Jesus often does this. He flips things on their head, turns things upside down, shakes them up, and transforms the way we think. So Jesus' teaching here really is about being aware of other people that may have issues with us and being willing, if we're aware of that, to go and make peace. Now, what's interesting is, again, it's only insofar as it depends on us. It may well be that we can't make peace because someone's not ready to make peace, but at least we've given them time to speak, time to giving them that opportunity to make their mind known. Now, I want to just draw out another feature of this. It says, if you're on the way to make your gift at the altar, and on the way you realise your brother has something against you. Now, the Message translation, instead of using the term brother, says your friend. But I think the idea here is that you've got a close acquaintance, an intimate relationship, some kind of friendship with the person. And it's interesting how so often the people who hold stuff against us, the people who have issues and problems that would become a bigger problem, a spiritual problem, are the people who are closest to us. And that's something to be aware of. Jesus isn't talking about total strangers here. So I would say take some encouragement. If you've been let down by, or you've got friction with, or tension with, or a broken relationship with someone who's close to you, a friend or a brother or someone you're in a close relationship with, don't be surprised by that. It's very normal. It's here in Jesus' teachings. The only thing we have to do as disciples is just be willing to go and make the first steps towards peace. So I think there's a sense in which we need to go with humility. We need to go asking questions without making assumptions, be ready to listen. questions like, is there something I could have done differently? Or, did I hurt you in some way? Is there something I'm not aware of? Is there something I said? And just listening, definitely not in a kind of accusing way. You just want to hear what they've got to say. I think there's a sense of gentleness and humility in the way that we're called to approach people in this teaching. What's really powerful about this, though, is if someone holds something against you wrongly, let's say someone has got a bug against you, they really dislike something that you did or something that you said, but actually you weren't in the wrong. It's maybe based on their own insecurities, their own brokenness. You've kind of touched a nerve in them and kind of irritated some kind of insecurity or something like that, and they're holding it against you because you've somehow offended them without even knowing, and you're genuinely not in the wrong. By taking Jesus' teaching seriously and going and trying to make peace and say, have I hurt you in some way? Have I upset you in some way? What I think it'll do is it'll gently challenge that person. Like, should you really be having these feelings against me? And very often when someone knows their bad feelings against you are not justified, they won't want to admit to it. They'll be like, oh, no, nothing, no, I'm not upset at all. But what you're doing is you're opening up that conversation in their mind. Am I? Is there something I'm holding against them wrongly? And it starts them on this kind of reflective journey too. So whether they're holding something against you wrongly or rightly, there's power from taking those initial first steps, being proactive, being the one to go and try and seek peace. And that's really the key here. It's not to make someone feel bad. It's not to presume that they're wrong and you're right or anything like that. The goal is peace. Jesus says, blessed are the peacemakers. So we need to have the right attitude, the right approach, the right words and the right spirit if we're going to take this teaching seriously. And what this will do is it'll open up lines of spiritual connection with God and spiritual intimacy with God, which I think we'll not have access to if we ignore these tensions, these frictions, these areas of unforgiveness. They kind of create spiritual blocks. It's not that when you get to the altar, God's going to punish you because you've not sorted out your relationships. When we go to the altar to take an offering, to take a gift with an act of worship, when we bring ourselves to the altar, it's so we can open up these channels of blessing from heaven to earth. God wants to bless us and lavish on us. The offering isn't because God needs something from us. The offering is for us. It's to open these channels of blessing which will fill our lives and go out and fill other people and bless other people around us. And we get that stream of blessing when we're willing to figure out those personal relationships and put right wrong, say sorry where we need to say sorry, love where we need to love, listen where we need to listen. And when we're willing to do that, when we're willing to sort out those personal relationships, those areas where we may have hurt other people, those areas where maybe other people are holding wrong feelings against us, we open up those channels of blessing. We open up that blessing between heaven and earth, that God's living water can flow into us and fill us up and then bubble out of us and fill other people up too. And that's what it's all about, guys. God wants to bless us. He wants to fill us up and he wants to bless other people through us. So I'm going to leave it there today. I hope this has been encouraging. If you enjoy these videos, please do continue to tune in every morning. If you click subscribe, that'll remind you that the videos are going to be there. I'd love to hear from you too. So drop a comment below the video, say hi, especially if you're new to this channel. It's great to hear from you. And if you've been joining me and walking with the word through these videos for a while now, thank you so much. Thank you for being part of the journey. Say hi, let me know how you're doing. God bless you. Take care, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.